who has earned the right to recognise who Christ is today. I am he. For this reason, the position as Pope is the vicar of Christ. There is one more act as the head of my church, that is to announce my presence to the world. You are, of course, aware the Jews are the devil incarnate, John 8:44. Hitler was right. He warned in Mein Kampf that if the Jews were not controlled, the earth would be left a lifeless sphere floating through the ether of space. I was reborn to the earth on January 11, 1944, being 1111944, the 111 number being observed by millions around the world. Joseph, you being the 111 or the 111th Pope of the Malachite prophecy, you are the final Pope. The prophecy then continues saying Rome will be destroyed. What interpretation of the prophecy has added one more Pope, the work of the devil in man, to install itself a Pope? I have no intention of destroying Rome or the Church. I will implement reforms and clean out the abomination that offends us both. Born into the Church, I attended St. Bernard's convent, and like you, reluctant to become the Pope, your prayers were answered. You got the job. For in my opinion, the man who doesn't want the job gets it. No finer representative, therefore, could there be than yourself, as you did not want the job, nor do I require. Mary appeared to me on August 31st, 1950. I was 2424 days old, which is Jesus in Greek. While in the schoolyard, St. Bernard's convent in Botany Road, Botany. Two lads older than I were talking. One said Jesus was a Pharisee, the other correcting him said no, he was a Sadducee. I flew into a rage, ran towards them to fight. As I did, I stepped through the veil to find myself totally unaware of from where I had come, sitting on the steps of the synagogue, on the hill outside of the area which later would become Nazareth. I was examining the steps, rough, loosely fitted with sand between the worn stones. To my left was a door, arched with iron hinges, dark, rough wood. We had walked from Egypt. I was tired. Mary was down the path some 10 metres. She called, Jesus, Jesus, come. I ran towards her. I was thinking how tired I was. We had been walking from Egypt. Finally, I stood beside her, to her right, to my right, to her left. She's a tall, slim woman, like myself today, of English complexion, olive skin, fine features. She said, now Jesus, I have something to tell you. If the Jews find out we are Essene, they will kill us. It did not resonate with me, what or why. I then looked back towards the synagogue and Joseph had emerged. He was with two men. They dressed in black with bushy black beards, hair pulled back on the back of their heads. While Joseph, a very big man, bushy grey beard, like mine today, hair pulled back, wearing a grey full-length garment. It had a strip of darker grey with two fine strips woven into the garment, black and red, although too far to see it clearly. It is fixed in my mind as being familiar with it on the walk from Egypt. Next moment we were in a rough stone mud room, a window with two vertical sticks with three horizontal, prevented what appeared to be like the old bags used for potatoes in modern time, like hessian. Rough brown and probably hemp. Contains the gently fluttering in the breeze, or the curtains gently fluttering in the breeze. I couldn't see directly out, I could see up at the stars, however. Mary and Joseph were about to leave, dressed in black. Mary said, we are going to see the high priest, so do not follow us. Well, that's a lure I couldn't resist. They walked out the door. I picked out the door. And as they walked down the street, they were keeping to the shadows out of the light of the moon on the right, reaching the corner of several houses. They turned to the right and was gone. So I would have been 2424 days old at that moment in time, because it was that same evening. Walking home from the convent, I was across the train lines to the west and near the overhead railway line that bordered the convent to cross over the road via a railway bridge. I stopped across from the school and looked up at the heavens and I said, well, God, I know you can't be here for some reason and must have left proof of yourself in creation. So if you like, tell me and I will tell the world. I'm a little kid. Right? I was 2424 days old, which is Jesus. This is 6.636 years. Let's go to Cage and look at number concordance. I was not looking forward to the age 7, as the sisters had told me. A child could not sin until the age of reason, 7 years, so therefore I was in the clear. But I didn't like the idea of being 7 after that. It took me months before I finally weakened and bought a lolly. Somehow I knew the world was created in some way to identify the Lord. I had not the education to know Jesus was God in the flesh at that time. It was midday and the star above that date was 4238. That's YBS 4238. And these are heavenly signs as I read the numbers by the James Strong's Concordance. 4238 means visions. So that's what I was having, a vision. From 2372, a primitive root to gaze at mentally or to perceive, contemplate with pleasure. Specifically to have vision or behold, look at, prophecy, provide and see. The King James Bible is a translation of the devil. It has flooded the earth and today there's 36,000 churches. Exactly what the devil wants. The Strong Concordance is only available for the 1611 Bible. Therefore, I know the only way I could read the earth and all I needed to accomplish had to be via tricking the devil, being an idiot, into producing a Bible. So the concordance numbers is the key. Know what your enemy is doing. So you convert everything to numbers. There are 8674 words in the Hebrew section, which is a code they never thought of, which is expressed in days, is 3.168 years, and 3168 in Greek geometry is the following. Lord is 800, Jesus 888, and Christ is 1480, totaling 3168. In the Greek, 5624 subtract from 3670 is 3050, and it's the only time the word jar is found. Psalm 684. Sing unto God, sing praises to his name, extol him that rideth upon the heavens, by his name jar, and rejoice before him. So where you're looking straight up, you've got to look at the stars. Joseph, I know you will understand. Few people do. I am rejected, Psalms 118:22 and Matthew 21:42. As said, in another upload, my brother, a man who set himself a very low moral standard as a young man and had great difficulty living up to them. His fixation was young girls and his greatest achievement was the years he spent in Malaysia on construction, spending every moment he could in brothels. He is dead now, even though he had witnessed hundreds of miracles. I could not persuade him to repent. He was, however, 8.88 years older than I when I was born. And you know, 888 is Jesus in Greek. So on the date of my rebirth in Sydney, the sunrise to sunset was 855 minutes. The moonrise occurred 33 minutes later. So we have 888 minutes. I, as Jesus, was born in Bethlehem, the sunrise the same, 855 and 33 minutes later for 888 minutes. When I married, I was 1162.6 weeks old. That's a width of the antechamber, moving a decimal place to the left 1 point. The altar to the Lord, the antechamber, 116.26, you've got to get through that genetically. And I do. 116.26, that is the age difference and so forth between myself and others in the royal family. But in particular, Rhiannon and that's Michelle's daughter, who was Mary Magdalene. And my daughter, Tracy, 11.626 years. And on it goes. My second daughter, Nicole, was conceived and born in Cornell, BC, Canada. The distance between the two locations, that is with Tracy, homes I had built, is 444.3714 kilometres. The word God is found in 3877 verses, 4443 occasions. You will see how creation is centred around my existence, and the key of the house of David is the Davidic key, Isaiah 22:22, and that's how much I weigh. And that's how long I was when I was born. The King James 1611 Bible is a Freemason translation. It's God Lucifer, authorised by King James and edited by William Shakespeare, the pen name of the Earl of Oxley. he the man who influenced Elizabeth to nominate her cousin's Mary Queen of Scots child as she had beheaded her. So as my eldest daughter is 11.626 years and older than my stepdaughter Rhiannon, she's born on the 20th of December 1979, and my youngest Nicole, 777 days older, 2.127 years. Rhiannon's mother was Michelle Nye, who was Mary Magdalene, 32.75 years once she was to give birth to Rhiannon. So we turn to this James Strong's Concordance. This is where the trap is. We look up 2127 and 3275. We find they're only found once in the entire 800,000 words. And not only are they found in the same verse, they're found side by side. So, as I say, there is 7 names in that verse, which total 31101, but it isn't. That is a number I wrote in a drawing of the King's Chamber, which gives these numbers. 31101, when you add it to the Queen's birthday, that gives you a number and a date. So, matching the verse totals for the Bible, average 4443, as I said, is a 714 as well, which is a number of occasions the word God is found in 3877 verses, and is the distance to the South Pole, where I was reborn in St. Margaret's Maternity Hospital, a Catholic hospital in Darlinghurst. I think you've been there. So here's a diagram of the Great Pyramid, and what we're doing is we're going, the Great Pyramid itself, the Grand Gallery, is 286.1 inches high, and we go straight to the wall, and we have 537.0278. Then we have a displacement factor to the King's Coffer, 286.1, placing it directly under the peak of the capstone. Then we add the height, 230.05379 inches, to see the detail, to 1/10,000th of an inch. We then multiply that by illumination, and we get 31101. There's our numbers there before you. We end up with 4443.714. 714 is Isaiah. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Looking towards the Greek, Matthew 1:23, behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is God with us. Matthew 1:23 has a value of Greek gematria of 8880, the age I was in days when my daughter was born. When the sunrise to sunset was 888 minutes. So we have 1 Chronicles 5:13 identifying, these are the names: Michael or Michelle, Michelin or Marshall, Sheba, my cat, Jerai and Jachan and Zia, then Heber, Hebrew, the 7 names. There's many codes that come out of that, which I won't bother at the moment. Here's the Great Pyramid text in Scripture, Isaiah 19:19, 19:20. When you add up all the letters, you get the height of the pyramid in pyramid inches, up to the missing rejected capstone, which is me. Edward de Vere was Queen Elizabeth's right-hand man, head of the royal court. He wrote under the pen name of Shakespeare, as the Puritans did not see kindly to people being artistic or happy. Poetry or theatre. She did, the Queen, enjoy poetry, songs, music and laughter. In Romeo and Juliet, 2 men are speaking, they are the name of the Lord, so she was familiar with this. They say Jesu Maria, which is the Essene name for Jesus. So the words are Jesus and Maria, Jesus and Mary, and who venerates Jesus and Mary in today's world? The Catholic Church. So, understandably, the Catholic Church has been the target of many evil attempts to take over the world. Pope John Paul II was a demon. He was elected Pope on the sunlight for Rome was 666 million. Same date when Pope Gregory XIII altered time in 1582, making the next day after the 4th to 15th of October. The word God is found in 443 occasions, with 3877 verses, and this is the distance from the Hospital to the South Pole. So you've got 3877 God, and you've got the 4443 straight to 1 Chronicles 5:13 and the Great Pyramid, King's Chamber. I remained at this address until I was 942 days old. Jesus' verse told. Where we sit at the moment is 973 kilometres from that, in Toogoom to Rothschild Avenue, the Devil, 105. And that is 973 kilometres, which is how many times the word Jesus is found in 942 verses. But if you go from here to the, which I'll show you directly, 8888.8 miles on the 25th degree latitude, just below the Great Pyramid, from where I was born, and come back to Toogoom, it is a number for Almighty God. So, the address of 105, which is Eagle or Angel, Rothschild Avenue, Rosebery, identifies the beast right there. There it is. So I was born into the heart of hell, where else? And the distance to the South Pole is 3875 miles, which is the word comforter. John 14:16 and John 14:26. And I will pray the Father, and he will give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. But the comforter, which is the Holy Ghost, Jesus resurrected from the dead, whom the Father will send in my name, Jesus the Father, raised from the dead, he shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you, Jesus speaking. Genetically, the throne of David has been usurped by the Jews, which today is the house of Rothschild. Hence I was born into hell to release the prisoners on the very location named Rothschild, today the name of the devil. Rothschild family, John 8:44. You are of your father the devil, the lust of your father you will do. In other words, it's Cain reincarnated from the dead. In Isaiah 9:6 and 11:1, these verses have a code counting every seventh letter, totals 888, and I'll show you that in a moment. Australia time, the 96th day of the year, 95th in Jerusalem. It's the day of the resurrection. That's the date I was conceived in 1943. I was there at the time, I remember. The date of the resurrection in Jerusalem, the day behind the international date line, is the 5th in Jerusalem. Now in the Hindi prophecies it talks about the future, the past and the present all happening at the same time. Well, it's in your mind, and that is what is actually happening. If you hadn't heard it before this moment, it's all happening now, isn't it? Altar to the Lord, with a capstone in place, mathematically, 5813 inches high or 484.9 feet. At that age, 4.849 years, November the 14th, 1948, on that day, late that evening, Charles would be born. Gabriel spoke to me. It said for me to go to the side of the house, climb the gate, go next door. It was totally familiar and not a surprise, that is the voice, so it did. But I said my mother Daphne, that was the first time I heard the voice, go lightly. She was a tough, rough woman with no nonsense, quick to reprimand. She and I exclaimed, had told me never to go next door. She, a woman who was one who distanced herself from everybody. Later on in years, there was a lady, lovely lady next door, and she used to call her Mrs. Greasy Heels. Bullshitted to her over the fence and talked behind her back when she came inside. Gabriel said, it's all right. So I climbed the gate and then started sliding down the hardwood palings, only to slip and become impaled as splinters clawed my fingers and toes. I was stuck on the fence. Then something grabbed me and placed me on the ground. I thought it was the lady next door and I'd been sprung, but it wasn't. It was Gabriel. He told me to go inside. So I gingerly go inside and I was quite frightened. And I remember seeing a green, almost a checkered, perhaps plastic of some sort. If it was invented then at least. But it was certainly green checker. with plates, breakfast plates and cereal. I was urged to go through and open the door into the bathroom, which I was very, very frightened. I said I didn't want to go in there because I might see the lady and that, and I was very timid about that sort of thing. Little boy behind the door was asleep, and I was told to take him outside not to touch the lady's lips. She had turned mottily pink at that time, like bruising. She had been electrocuted by a vacuum cleaner my father had wired up, and I told him that the red wire was not supposed to be on the earth, as they do in Australia. They do in Germany, it's the other way around. Anyhow, that killed her. So I went back and forth another time, and the baby had gone back inside. I brought him out, and I had Jimmy to lock it on the back door and stopped him getting in. My mother grabbed me as I come back, and I forgot all about it, because she was just stabbing me with this bloody needle. Later, she looked out the window just to grab her neck. She said, "Stay here." And she went out the front door. Well, that's like a magnet, I followed her. She went in the next door and then came back out and said to Mrs. Brazier, who was burning a mat hanging from a line onto the fence, "Call an ambulance. Mrs. I don't know, I can't recall her name. Mrs. Stiff's daughter anyhow is dead." She walked across the road to Mrs. Stiff, the mother of the young woman. Later I saw the ambulance carry the young woman. Later her husband stood weeping. But I recall most of all Mrs. Stiff, little woman, stunned and distraught. She had lost a son in the same house 6 months earlier. So now her daughter's dead. She's walking across the road with Mum holding her on the shoulders with the left hand. And my brother, being 8.88 years older than I am, he wanted to be an electrician. He had told me about it, how the wires were all to be connected. He thought it was important. My father, as I said, had wired it, and I watched him and told him that he was doing it wrong. This is what killed her. She was in the bathroom and must have been grabbing the tap and reached over or brushed her leg against the chrome and was electrocuted and her heart stopped. She was lying with her head towards the sink and bath and her legs towards the door. So every day after that moment, my father beat me and belittled me every chance he got. Now, I often saw ghosts. On one occasion, my Aunt Dot had died at midday. Peritonitis, died horribly. I was in the backyard of the house facing the fence northward, and I felt a presence. I turned about, glanced upwards, and saw my aunt floating above me to my left, some 5 metres or so. She was asleep in the bed position, but I only saw her, not the bed. I could see the blonde hair plaited at the back of the head. She slowly sat up and looked around, and then saw me to her lower left. She bent, stooped around towards me with her arms outstretched. She said my name, but I couldn't hear it. She then looked forlorn and rolled back into the sleep position, and then moved to my right, which is west, turned southwards and up at about 30 degrees. I watched it go past the stink pipe. She went in a counterclockwise movement, accelerating away and vanished into the distance. Well, the counterclockwise in Australia is if you drain water down the sink, that's what happens. Until the 11th of December 2011, when we crossed the Milky Way galaxy equator, the water started spinning the other direction. So, as I'd seen her go, I was startled, and I ran crying to my mother. I told her Aunt Dot was dead. My mother was not impressed. I insisted she look at the clock. It was 3 minutes past noon. Then I was banished back to the prison at the backyard. Finally, my father came home, and he was to say, "We have had bad news. Dot died today." My mother, shaken, then asked when, holding her neck as she did when she was nervous. He said at noon. She then blurted it out. Brian told me she had died at noon. We've got some drawings here somewhere on. This is the royal line of Judah. Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. That's the Goliath shield. And of course, 49:9 right through to 11 is martial in Hebrew. Then there's the antique crown of the Goliath line. Now, the British set zero on December the 18th. This is important, 1922, not at 12 noon, but at 12:20. The reason was that the moon location over the surface of the earth was 621 miles from the city of On, where Joseph had married the daughter of the high priest god of the underworld named Asenath, number 621, which is how many miles away, which found its way into the Freemason devil worship of Jew Balaam. This all comes to the devil himself, Obama. They are obsessed with Egypt and the line of the pharaohs, because Obama is the pharaoh. Verse numbers were a late addition and divine, so therefore the verse in this case is self-explanatory. Genesis 41:45, and Pharaoh called Joseph's name, a long name we can't say, and he gave him a wife, Asenath, the daughter of the high priest of On, and Joseph went out all over the land of Egypt. Now, Egypt is where God is, wilderness. The first has a value of 1475 in English geometry, and it means a pit. The 4145 is feminine of 4143, a foundation. So this is what they made their foundation. But John 8:44 is auton otos, from 4846, the same as 3155, self-moved, automatic, spontaneous. So you are your devil, Cain, murder from the beginning. That's the Jews. They haven't changed one little bit. Now this drawing here is the equator being crossed by a line from just below Egypt on the 25-degree latitude by 30.05400 longitude to where I was born is 8888.8 miles. That's the total eclipse 14 days after I was born. The 14 number means Abba. The father is born. Now, on Prince Charles's birthday, and he'll be 64, or was 64, but he misses out by 10 hours, and that eclipse was his birthday in 2012. It's 942 miles from where I was born. And I lived, there's 942 verses in First Chronicles, and I lived at that home, seen here, 3355153 by East 15112218 for 942 days. Now, not one of the Jews in the earth today are descended from the Jews of Palestine. None. Zero. Let us say one squeaked through, and they're not a Khazar. They were Jews that crucified God. In the Protocols of Zion, they speak of the plans of the future. Protocol 14 says specifically in one sentence, and how stupid is this, we will forbid Christ. So what they are saying is they will forbid a man who is Christ. Therefore he must be Christ. Now in my life I've observed how the authorities behave. They're all Khazars. They're all Zionists. Now I've been under constant surveillance since I got here. In Isaiah 45:23, I have sworn by myself the word has come out of my mouth in righteousness and shall not return, that unto me every knee shall bow, every tongue shall swear. So in every opportunity, the translators have reversed good to evil in the Holy King James Bible. In the sayings of prophets, the Lord is Satan, demanding, take nations, kill the males, keep the virgins for yourself. This is the Babylonian Talmud abomination, which I condemned as Jesus, which was the Mishnah. I think I said God is love. It's very tempting to forget that for these fucking Jews. Now Isaiah 9:6, if you count every 7 letter, the total is 888. So April 6, 1943 is the 96th day of the year. Conception, 280 days, January 11, 1944. We have Isaiah 11:1, 11th of January. And we do the same thing. We have 888. Isaiah 11:1, therefore is January 11, 1944. I have compiled thousands of drawings, all with similar wonders. The people in my life have been all demonized. Truth being like holy water on a demon scalds them, and they are compelled to tell falsehood. There's not a relative I have that I could trust. Bar one. We have healed 200,000 in New Guinea of AIDS, malaria, cancer, breast cancer, prostate, bone cancer, venereal diseases, diabetes, tuberculosis, and H1N1 we took to the Aboriginals in Central Australia. Later went to Fiji, established 2 clinics, and there, this is what would Jesus do. The biggest problem is diabetes in Fiji, and it's all due to the oils they cook with. Now, before going to Fiji, we sent 33 faxes to Frank Bainimarama and his staff, who I was and how I would heal all the diseases. The authorities staggered, did not know what to do. Finally, the Australian government put pressure on them to arrest and deport us. Interpol is owned by the Rothschild family. We were wanted by Interpol. However, nothing happened, of course, when we got back to Australia. I would therefore ask you to stay honest, Pope. I understand you are not well. However, I place you there as Pope, and I will heal you. You can start by a teaspoon of bicarbonate soda in water, morning and night. Order a Robert C. Beck wrist pulsar from Soda Instruments in Canada, or on eBay you can get an ozone, or maybe the soda itself. You just got to pay for it. There are also available on the internet, eBay. It has my private address, and I can send, if you give me your private address, I will send you the pulses. A rubber band for the wrist holds 2 wires against the skin, and in a cotton wet with salt, a 4 Hz pulse through the vein and artery eliminates all germs, viruses and pathogens. Drinking ozone and clean water does virtually the same thing. I was curing AIDS in 1990 in Germany with it. For diabetes, a small capsule of O-size calcium hypochlorite failed on the pill store for a few days, morning and night. It's all you require. I really do not want to go. You are the hope for all Catholics, and therefore the Catholics would hear that I have been and gone in the devil's grip. This is what the price you're going to have to pay for free will. There's a declaration I gave to the Queen, signed. She received it. I think it was the 14th of June 2010. She has abdicated. Okay, now the Shroud of Turin is my body caused by the resurrection of light. The highest mountain of Tahiti is the same area as the Shroud of Turin, number 5353 feet, the area of 5353 square inches. However, it's made of 2 pieces of cloth. One is 71 inches by 39.5, an area 67545. The 5 is Abba, Father. And God said, let us make man in our image. The word image is 6754. It means a shade, a phantom, an illusion, resemblance, representative, figure, especially an idol, image, vain, show, or a ghost image. And as said, number 5 is Abba. So the Father is on. The soul of Jesus was the Father and the Son. We have sent information to His Holiness Karakan II at the Holy Mother See in Echmadsian. The Armenians have been butchered by the Turkish and were the first nation to form devoted to Jesus in 301 AD. I think Church of Rome was 312. That's your name and my name, Gematria. They are the Church of Philadelphia and the Armenian Church. Revelation 1:11, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, and what thou seest write in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. So we're talking to Philadelphia. And the angel of the church of Philadelphia write, now listen carefully, these things say is that he that is holy, he that is true, he that has the key of David, Isaiah 22:22. He that openeth and no man shutteth, Isaiah 22:22, and shutteth and no man openeth, 22:22. I know thy works, behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it, for thou hast little strength, because they've been butchered, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Now, Ash got through to the Holy See today with emails. I was reluctant to talk. I hung up the first time around because there's a problem brewing in Sydney. So when she said she's from Australia, I was a bit concerned that she was calling from Sydney. And no, she said, no, it's good news. Behold, I will make them of the synagogues of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come to worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Church of Philadelphia. Because thou hast kept my word and my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I can quickly hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh I will make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him my name of my God, drawing on the God mantra, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, Harcourt, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name. Revelation 3:12 is a value of 2520 multiplied by 10, add it to my birth date, and you got my 70th Hebrew 360 day year on January the 11th, 2013, and 69 years in the Gregorian calendar. Now, as said, the Queen has abdicated on the 28th, 2011. It is therefore noteworthy she has set the stage for the death of Charles and William taking the throne. However, I said I would protect him. It is also noteworthy that royals of Spain say the first son of Queen Victoria was fathered by a king of Spain. He has said he has the right to the throne of David. But Brian Leonard Garth Marshall is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. It's pretty bloody obvious. So I've got here some notes. Like you, Joseph. Joseph was called out of Egypt. Your name is the same second name of my grandfather. The Queen has abdicated. Therefore, the throne repeats the 13 competitors in 1296. My ancestor challenged for the throne of Israel. Patrick Delope. Only one church can win the holy sweepstakes, but we have a dead heat. That's okay. If the two most holy, honest men devoted to Jesus can read and listen to the abuse your God has had to endure, but I have to be a loving God just the same, and although beaten up pretty bad, I have still the ability to travel back to my childhood in Italy, where all there was love. Now, Obama is about to destroy the United States. They have a video on YouTube, a Catholic man who saved the lives of 50,000 abandoned babies during the one-family policy, all girls in China. The boys they kept as an old age policy. The girls would not, and they would be penalised if they were allowed to live. So they allowed the girls to die and kept the boys. Here's reporting the American commanders are being asked if they were ordered to shoot to kill a crowd of objectors, American citizens, would they be prepared to kill? This is what this bonesman, Obama, this beast, is sorting out who will kill unarmed Americans or armed Americans. Now, Bush was a skull and bonesman, that's the old man. His son, his name out of the skull and bones is temporary. This is G.W. Bush. Obama was set up by Kissinger. He is skull and bonesman. His name, Undertaker. So he's taken over from the work that was done by Bush, who built all the FEMA camps and ordered all these trains in his concentration facility He is more evil than Bush, even though his mother, Barbara Bush, is the daughter of the most evil man said to have lived, Aleister Crowley. So his Obama is worse than this monster. So Aleister Crowley is his genes in George Jr. Obama is the embodiment of the god of the underworld, Jew Balaam. Now why? Obama totals 163. Obama, Barack, Hussein is his three names. It means to take prisoner and a river in Babylon. That's what his intention is. I have not seen it used before in tracking down the numbers, so the 163 was unfamiliar. He is about to order the armed forces to arrest countless millions, herding them into the camps, 400 FEMA camps, with rail cars built in China, 130,000 in one order, stored in Montana, that has 3 layers, shackles on the sides, and has a guillotine on each level. The FEMA coffins are large enough to hold a traumatised family. Unable to move, stacked in like cords of wood, they burned alive in plastic boxes which melts all around them, giving the utmost pain and suffering. And they've already tried it out. I've taken 300,000 poor people out of the South, when St. Louis and the Mississippi was detonated and it flooded the area. They watched as thousands were herded into a stadium above the flood level, which was deliberate and built for that very reason, because they think way ahead here. And they watched as these people started to turn on each other, watching young men rape women and so forth. Now, babies in America are given 25 vaccinations by the age of 24 months. And underground reports say that all babies born after the year 2000 will be dead before their parents. That is, if they are not burned alive in the Obama Undertaker Skull and Bones ultimate sacrifice to Evelyn de Rothschild. The D in English means the name was created by a king. The Queen is herself a Rothschild. So was Hitler. His grandmother or great-grandmother was raped by Solomon Rothschild. She was a maid. The Queen, 23rd of April, not the 26th. They changed it when I was a child. I remember it being the 23rd. And this is where we get the 3110 number, 01 number out of the Great Pyramid. And 31101, the all-edged first total. Let's explain that. I say alleged, all-edged first total. The track then is the date she had abdicated, the 28th of October 2011 date, amazingly aligned with the world reaching 7 billion. It is also Benedict's 55th birthday. I have my tuxedo at the dry cleaners, so to speak. Pointing out to Iran the prophecies of Isaiah, as well as you know, Isaiah died 118 years before King Cyrus was born. And he predicted the Persian king would rebuild the temple to Yahweh and God of Daniel. Now the Persians, the only one that's got it right, religiously speaking, of prophecies they recognise, as Jesus did die on the cross, but some say he didn't. The Essene returned to Jerusalem after released by the Persians to build the temple. The false Jews wanted to help the returning Essene, but were chased off by the Essene. Chased off meant they delayed the building. Later, the decree was found with a promise to build the temple to the God of Daniel. It was then finally built. This is the decree of Cyrus. So it was built by Essenes to Yahweh and Asherah. The destroyed poles changed from Asherah, as in pure ash white trees. The word Asherah was changed to grove. So therefore, the mother, honour your mother and your father, was eliminated. The demons had an 8-year-old king to destroy all the Asherah and Yahweh temples. He had no idea what he was doing. The Jews influenced them. Then came Rome, so they moved to Qumran, and where it all began, Cornwall and Glastonbury. Here we have the Colburn Bible, which is what I said, as Jesus, in the 60 universities, that was the world centre of learning, that the Romans never were able to take. Glastonbury from the age of 13 to 30. Greek dictionary, here's a code. 1330. To traverse, literally, come, depart, go, abroad, everywhere, over, through, throughout, pass, by, over, through, pierce, through, travel, walk, around, and walk through. So, the Romans 153 BC had caused this Qumran thing to erupt, but the Essenes had also become the Herodians. They lived along a suburb called by that name, as their loyalty had gone to Herod to save them from Roman destruction. And they sent out unto him disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true, and teachest the way of God, truth. Neither carest thou for any man, for thou regardest not the person of men. Setting me up. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, Why tempt me, ye hypocrites? Now the temple was destroyed in AD 30 on the same date of the crucifixion. The stones that are still there have been bullshitted to the Jews by the rabbis that think it is the walls of King Solomon. So they're bobbing them back and forwards against the wall of Yahweh. Now the devil Cain has to reincarnate also. It's part of the deal. So he comes back as Jack the Ripper, the Duke of Clarence, he the son of Edward, a lowlife who frequented brothels, similar to my brother. His son Bertie, by the age of 16, had contracted syphilis. He, a Freemason, took a butcher's knife driving into a lady as if it was his fellow. And he could no longer get it up. A family trait, hence homosexuality is rife in the southern revisited royal family. This is where we get to Isaiah 63, 1-6. That's the age my grandfather was when I was born. 63, 6 years. It was 2322, 9 days. The very moment Queen abdicated, I became the king, and prophecy holds, as the Jews, Protocol 14 states, we will forbid Christ from the throne. I am again rejected, even though I offered them forgiveness. That is the monsters themselves. The same idiot said, forgive them, Father. They know not what they do. Well, they're, I say, pigs, my mother's favourite saying. They know exactly what they have done and what they do. Possibly I was stoned on magic mushrooms at the time. 118 years, how about 118.22 years, the difference between the prophecy of Isaiah and the birth of Cyrus, who he predicted would rebuild the temple. This is the same number in kilometres from where Eileen, the town harlot I married, to our honeymoon garage at the back of the house where I grew up. 118.22 kilometres. It's perfection. Forget the anguish I have suffered. Find two and end-time witnesses prepared to walk hand in hand in Jerusalem. So that can be you, the head of the Catholic Church, and the Prince of the Church of Philadelphia. However, we'll take that away from them. We, Asherah and Yahweh, will do it. You announce it, we do it. I'm going to skip along a bit. This is the Queen's age when she abdicated. In weeks, it means Rabboni. I said to her that I would forgive her and save the lunatics in the family and put them all in nice little homes and cure them over time. Give them paradise. Don't worry about it. Everyone's bitching about that. There's monsters I'm giving paradise. Well, you're going to get it too. So I'm taking them off the streets. She says Rabboni, Lord Rabboni, in the age she was. So she's a smart woman. She has come up with that code. There's a time span there, 4462 weeks. My age is 67.79, and is to bring forth, to bear, to bring forth, to grow up again, spring forth. So the cost of creating the universe, very well, but not many. Give a briefest explanation there. Now, Reverend de Rothwell number is 208. It's ono, underworld, where Jude alone. Yes, thanks, mate. Also, there was no zero when they worked out the Julian, rather the lunation date, starting on the 18th of December 1918. Should have been 1918. So, and it all boils down to this. All the youngsters are perishing and are about to perish at the hands of Obama. He has to be arrested. He is the devil incarnate. We'll lock him up in an enduring rape. I promised Elizabeth I'd get her out of bed. And I'll end it with love. They may never get out. Perhaps we can torment them by the words hello played 24/7. Now, how do we stop? Open fell down. Would be dreadful if I haven't made a sound on this. Ugh.
That's 9960.
Wait a minute. Doesn't look happy. It doesn't look happy. Oh, cool. Everybody loves somebody sometime. And although ever is, no working. Okay. Open file play. Did you get one up, though? Didn't work. Not all that.
Oh, honey.
He was with two men. They dressed in black with bushy black beards, hair pulled back on the back of their heads. While Joseph, a very big man, bushy grey beard, like mine today, hair pulled back, wearing a grey full-length garment. It had a strip of darker grey with two fine strips woven into the garment, black and red, although too far to see it clearly. It is fixed in my mind as being familiar with it on a walk from Egypt. Next moment we were in a rough stone mud room, a window with two vertical sticks with three horizontal, prevented what appeared to be like the old bags used for potatoes in modern time, like hessian. Rough brown and probably hemp. Contains the gently fluttering in the breeze, or the curtains gently fluttering in the breeze. I couldn't see directly out, I could see up at the stars, however. Mary and Joseph were about to leave, dressed in black. Mary said, "We are going to see the high priest, so do not follow us." Well, that's a lure I couldn't resist. They walked out the door. I picked out the door. And as they walked down the street, they were keeping to the shadows out of the light of the moon on the right, reaching the corner of several houses. They turned to the right and was gone. So I would have been 24 days old at that moment in time, because it was that same evening. Walking home from the convent, I was across the train lines to the west and near the overhead railway line that bordered the convent to cross over the road via a railway bridge. I stopped across from the school and looked up at the heaven. So you convert everything to numbers. There are, because they do, there are 8674 words in the Hebrew section, which is a code they never thought of, which is expressed in days, is 3.168 years, and 3168 in Greek geometry is the following. Lord is 800, Jesus 888, and Christ is 1480, totaling 3168. In the Greek, 5624 subtract from 3670 is 3050, and it's the only time the word Jah is found. Psalm 684. Sing unto God, sing praises to his name, extol him that rideth upon the heavens, by his name Jah, and rejoice before him. So where you're looking straight up, you've got to look at the stars. Joseph, I know you will understand. Few people do. I am rejected, Psalms 118:22 and Matthew 21:42. As said in another upload, my brother, a man who set himself a very low moral standard as a young man and had great difficulty living up to them. His fixation was young girls, and his greatest achievement was the years he spent in leisure on construction, spending every moment he could in brothels. He is dead now, even though he had witnessed hundreds of miracles. I could not persuade him to repent. He was, however, 8.88 years older than I when I was born. And you know, 888 is Jesus in Greek. So on the date of my rebirth in Sydney, the sunrise to sunset was 855 minutes. The moonrise occurred 33 minutes later. So we have 888 minutes. I, as Jesus was born in Bethlehem, the sunrise the same, 855. And I said, well, God, I know you can't be here for some reason, and must have left proof of yourself in creation. So if you like, tell me and I will tell the world. I'm a little kid. Right? I was 24 days old, which is Jesus. This is 6.636 years. Let's go to code to look at number concordance. I was not looking forward to the age 7, as the sisters had told me. A child could not sin until the age of reason, 7 years, so therefore I was in the clear. But I didn't like the idea of being 7. After that, it took me months before I finally weakened and bought a wallet. Somehow I knew the world was created in some way to identify the Lord. I had not the education to know Jesus was God in the flesh at that time. It was midday and the star above that date was 4238. That's YBS 4238. And these are heavenly signs as I read the numbers by the James Strong's Concordance. 4238 means visions. So that's what I was having, a vision. From 2372, a primitive verb to gaze at mentally or to perceive, contemplate with pleasure. Specifically to have vision or behold, look at, prophecy, provide and see. The King James Bible is a translation of the devil. It has flooded the earth, and today there's 36,000 churches. Exactly what the devil wants. The Strong Concordance is only available for the 1611 Bible. Therefore, I know the only way I could read the earth and all I needed to accomplish had to be via tricking the devil, being an idiot, into producing a Bible, so the concordance numbers is the key. Know what your enemy is doing, who has earned the right to recognise who Christ is today. I am he. For this reason, the position as Pope is the vicar of Christ. We have one more act as the head of my church, that is to announce my presence to the world. You are, of course, aware the Jews are the devil incarnate, John 8:44. Hitler was right. He warned in Mein Kampf that if the Jews were not controlled, the earth would be left a lifeless sphere floating through the ether of space. I was reborn to the earth on January 11, 1944, being 1111944, the 111 number being observed by millions around the world. Joseph, you being the 111 or the 111th Pope of the Malachite prophecy, you are the final Pope. The prophecy then continues saying Rome will be destroyed. What interpretation of the prophecy has added one more pope, the work of the devil in man, to install itself a pope? I have no intention of destroying Rome or the Church. I will implement reforms and clean out the abomination that offends us both. Born into the Church, I attended St. Bernard's convent and, like you, reluctant to become the Pope, your prayers were answered. You got the job. For in my opinion, the man who doesn't want the job gets it. No finer representative, therefore, could there be than yourself, as you did not want the job, nor do I require. Mary appeared to me on August 31st, 1950. I was 2424 days old, which is Jesus in Greek. While in the schoolyard, St. Bernard's convent in Botany Road, Botany. Two lads older than I were talking. One said Jesus was a Pharisee, the other correcting him said no, he was a Sadducee. I flew into a rage, ran towards them to fight. As I did, I stepped through the veil to find myself totally unaware of from where I had come, sitting on the steps of the synagogue, on the hill outside of the area which later would become Nazareth. I was examining the steps, rough, loosely fitted with sand between the worn stones. To my left was a door, arched with iron hinges, dark, rough wood. We had walked from Egypt. I was tired. Mary was down the path some 10 metres. She called, Jesus, Jesus, come. I ran towards her. I was thinking how tired I was. We had been walking from Egypt. Finally, I stood beside her, to her right, to my right, to her left. She's a tall, slim woman, like myself today, of English complexion, olive skin, fine features. She said, now, Jesus, I have something to tell you. If the Jews find out we are essing, they will kill us. It did not resonate with me, what or why. I then looked back towards the synagogue and Joseph had emerged